Cat. Hello, Mr. Percy. Say hi to YouTube. Yeah. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another Legacy video. And today we are going to be playing with the Aura Swap mechanic, which only exists on a single card. It exists on Arcanum Wings. So the idea is you pay 2 mana, you enchant a creature with your Arcanum Wings, and then you pay 3 mana to exchange Arcanum Wings with an aura from your hand. And it can be any aura, so we're going to try to do something busted. We are going to try to turn some little creature into an Eldrazi and have Annihilator 2, +10/+10, and Trample, probably as early as turn 3. And this is going to be a little bit clunky, and there's going to be some things that can go wrong, but this is something that is definitely scary. We're going to have some hoops to jump through, and I had to completely rebuild this deck list from scratch. So let's take a look at what I was originally sent. So this was the original deck list, which is looking to put the Arcanum Wings and later the Eldrazi Conscription on a creature that is hexproof or otherwise is difficult to target. Now, I've got a couple of fundamental problems with this deck that I think need to be addressed, which is why I did a rebuild. Number one, 25 mana sources is a lot for a blue deck that has cantrips that can select 4 mana. It's also just like a lot for a combo deck list. So that's something that we're probably going to need to fix here. Number 2, I'm good with doing a lot of jank on this channel, but I try to avoid playing Enlightened Tutor at all cost. Even when our deck is built around enchantments, I just don't think that this card is legacy playable. It's so hard to take a turn off for that selection and not redraw immediately. Personal Tutor sees some play in Doomsday, but that Doomsday is going to win you the game. Finding our Arcanum Wings is 1/3 of our combo, right? Because we need a creature, we need something giant to put in, like Eldrazi Conscription, and we need the Arcanum Wings. So we have an A plus B plus B, A plus B plus C combo here that we're going to have to achieve, and Enlightened Tutor only gets us 1/3 of that. So those were some fundamental problems, and so I rebuilt the deck list, and I spent more time than I admit trying to find something that I thought would work. And this is what I came up with. So first thing I did is I reduced the mana sources down to 20 while also adding a bunch of preordains into the deck list that are going to help us select for both our lands and our combo pieces. And I also thought a Surveil land was probably a good fit here. I actually started with 2, but when we get to the sideboard, well, it's very clear why I reduced it down to 1. I did a lot of research for this deck, and 2 things kind of came to my mind. Number 1, if this is going to be a core part of my strategy, I think I need more than just the 4 Eldrazi Conscriptions, so I added some Colossifications, which will turn our creature into a one-hit wonder. They won't get trample or evasion or anything, but at least Invisible Stalker itself can't be blocked. Number 2, I wanted something else to do with the giant auras when I found them. So I've tried some things like Show and Tell in the past in similar deck lists, and from many years ago, I rewatched one of my old streams, or at least the conclusion of it, and Academy Researchers was something that came up last time that I played this. So this is a way for 3 mana for us to create a 22/22 creature or a 12/12 Annihilator 2 Trampler. Now this one will be vulnerable to white-based removal in particular, such as Swords to Plowshares, but hopefully it will be fine to some other removal spells beyond that. As far as the sideboard goes, if you kind of look at the amount of interaction that we have here, we're kind of limited on interaction and removal and things of that nature. So I wanted my sideboard cards not to primarily be interactions, but to be I win buttons. And cards like Back to Basics and Null Rod have very strong chances at absolutely stealing games versus the appropriate types of deck. And I think that's the sort of thing that I need here. I need this deck to be stapled together by good cards rather than just being a pile of all jank. And I think it's fine if we play some janky stuff. But if we hold that janky stuff together with a giant pile of cantrips and Force of Will and very powerful sideboard options that can be alternative win conditions, we've got a real chance at, getting 2 wins or something like that in this league. And who knows, maybe I'm underestimating what this deck is capable of. I do have one Brazen Borrower in the main deck, just kind of as an out to random stuff, with Ensnaring Bridge being one of the primary ones that come to mind. Basically, with any blue deck, you throw 2 Brazen Borrowers in the 75 and, you're good. It just covers everything you could possibly come across. If you find that you like what you see today and you need to order some cards, please consider checking out toamagic.com. That is Tales of Adventure, and promo code ThrabenU will save you a little bit on your order. If you're tired of ordering from other vendors and having, too many envelopes from too many places because you ordered from some aggregator site, check out TOA, get everything fast, quickly, and with free shipping. With that being said, let's battle. I'm going to keep my opening hand. Oh. We're probably playing against a mono black Helm deck. All signs point to that being true. Oh, okay. Main deck Leyline? Yes. Uh-huh. Okay, no, it is a Beseech the Mirror version. No, so my gut instinct was correct. My opponent just turned 1 to me. Brutal. So, Force of Negation is reasonable, Brazen Borrower is reasonable, Null Rod is reasonable. So I have to cut some portion of this. Maybe I cut some number of dudes, some number of auras. That kind of gets me there. Turn 2 Null Rod with Force of Will backup is pretty decent. My opponent seems to have more artifact mana than normal. Opponent's on 6. I think I want to look 4 deep for my land. I don't want to miss the land ever. Yeah. We'll go bam, bam, bam. No shuffle. I now have multiple Force of Wills backing up this Null Rod. Sure. Yep. Hopefully we stop my opponent from activating this Urza Saga by playing the Null Rod. Like if a Chrome Mox is in their future. If they are just going to Ancient Tomb activate Urza Saga, I'm not very good against that. I don't have Wastelands in this mana base. Yeah, I'm not going to Force a Will Lotus Petal here. We are probably going to Brainstorm, then Ponder. I'm going to put back 1 Stalker, probably 1 land. Go ahead and fetch. I think I will Ponder first. There's the Giant Aura. I think I'm good with picking that up here. And then I will just preordain some of these other cards away. I don't want another Invisible Stalker here. I will take the Ponder. And now we're going to have 2 Saga tokens to face down, which is going to be strong. Candy Trail, sure. Gain 3 life and draw a card. The artifact land there is rough. So my Null Rod certainly did something, but like my Force of Wills certainly didn't. Brazen Borrower can get rid of 1 of these. I think I'm just going to shuffle this. A Misty. You got it. I'm going to take 5 here after bouncing 1 of these out of play. I have a package. 1 moment. Okay, then I'll take 5. I'm still dead in 2 turns. Maybe 1 turn. Yeah, my Force of Will just being completely ignored here is rough. Well, we're going to try. Colossification does tap the creature, so it does not get to block. And this is just fully going to come down to, can my opponent produce 1 more artifact to kill me instantly? Because if they don't, I might be able to swing this one. So the awkward thing here is that my Force of Wills are basically off. So if my opponent casts an artifact I can't Force of Will it because Ancient Tomb gives them 6. Force of Will would be the 7th point of damage. Am I dead? Or do I get to attack with a 22/22 creature? I'm not dead. My Force of Wills are off, my Misty Rainforest is off. My opponent has to block this, and then I can play this as a blocker. Get in there! Nice. No need to play out a Polluted Delta. This notably can only block creatures with flying. Oh, this is a 6/6 again. Okay, cool. Oh, this is a stream of creatures. This is weird because my chump block is obligatory, but my opponent's chump block is also obligatory. Oh, those are not good draws. So I can chump block this, but then this kills me. If I hold this back, this dies. I have to hold back and hope my opponent does not attack. I think I'm always attacking if I am them. Warrior's Death. We did the thing. That's what counts. Today's video is sponsored by TopDeck.gg. They're an awesome company that runs an awesome tournament series. If you would like to play for prizes such as Time Twister, check out the Top Deck Championship Series. It's run using their patented Command Tower software, which is awesome for EDH events, although you can use it for anything. Your players can scan QR codes and then get real-time standings and seamless pairings for their event. If you're looking to step up your local tournament game, check them out. All right, I am a giant aura away from doing the thing with Force of Will backup. Island into Aether Spellbomb. We're maybe playing against kind of a slow 8-cast start. I'm just gonna drop a Deuter. We're looking for any cantrip, any giant aura. The Spellbomb is not gonna interact favorably with my hexproof creatures. I have another hexproof creature that I can pitch to Force of Will if my opponent plays something that I don't like. I believe that qualifies. I don't want to have to commit my mana to Brazen Borrower. I'd rather do this with my mana. That's a weird draw. I think I'm just going to play this immediately. If I luck into drawing the big dumb aura, I just get to do it next turn. Alright, I'm going to attack for 1. I've asked my opponent to pick up the pace of play here. 5 minutes for 2 land drops and a Spellbomb is not great. Thought cast the hard way. Petal's fine. Bobble's fine. Opponent's not cracking immediately. Yeah, this is the sort of stuff that I'm looking for here. We just need to find the giant aura. Bottom. Not what I'm looking for. Try to get a little deeper here. Hey, it's the giant aura. I'll put that on top. I'll attack for my 1. 12. I guess I can aura swap after I attack. There's not like a sorcery speed restriction on this or anything. So I can attack and then Colossification. Like I can even go after blockers to aura swap and get my kill. Yeah, okay. This is good. I wonder if I had a line to stay alive last game then. Yep, no, this is all fine. And this is an exchange. My opponent gets to see what's coming. Yep, that's fine. So you get some cards. And I guess I don't trample. So this isn't perfect. But I do have a giant creature. And it can be a giant creature that flies. Like, I can make it fly and then Brazen Borrower a Thought Monitor out of play, but this Thought Monitor every turn because of everything is a little rough. Honest Ancient Tombs are a bit of a liability. I don't know if I win this one. Like, this is scaling Patchwork Automaton plus draw 2 every turn. Oh, my opponent just died. Cool. I like the part where my opponent died. So let's fly. Show me a Force of Will or you die. Alright, they showed it. Am I waiting around for an Eldrazi Conscription now? Doesn't really make sense for me to attack into this and let my opponent continue to draw 2. Alright. Eldrazi Conscription, again, would be sweet. And then my opponent's just going to cycle through all these baubles and take their draws. Force a Will is not the best. I can Force a Will a Thought Monitor when my opponent casts it to, like, make some progress on this board. I'll take some points of damage for doing this, but, like, I've got a shot, but it's just rough. It's going to be, what, 7, 12, 13, 14, 15-ish damage? Ooh. That I don't think I beat. Actually, if this connects, my opponent is still dead. But that extra point of power sets it over the top, right? 9. Yeah, if I, like, fetch and then Force a Will, I'm dead. All right. Unfortunate. This is what null rods are for. Like, we'll do some amount of this sort of interaction. I don't think I want to 2-for-1 myself here against my opponent's giant pile of card draw. Let's do this. Let's get better at answering creatures that are put into play. Colossification is, like, noticeably worse than Eldrazi Conscription in this matchup, I think. No starting mana sources. Easy mulligan. This is perfectly fine and reasonable. I think I'm going to keep 2 of these Academy researchers in case one gets forced and just pitch a brainstorm. So I am looking for land 3 and giant aura. Additional cantrips are fine. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is totally good. So I think I am just going to slam the turn 2 null rod rather than, like, try to bait out a force first. All right, my opponent's cracking both baubles. Yeah, I think the null rod is just the plan for this turn. It gives up, like, brainstorm, fetch, but the earlier this comes down, the higher an impact it has. Force of negation and a thought cast. That's fine. Like, it's obviously very good. Opponent gets 1 extra card per turn cycle off this Emery. And every time they sacrifice the bauble, they are losing Metalcraft. I think I am into brainstorm immediately, use ponder to shuffle afterwards. Oh, baby. Yeah, so we'll put back land, and second verse, same as the first. Nice. So Urza Saga, Kappa Cannoneer, and to a lesser extent, things like Sigh or Chalice of the Void are things that we're worried about now. Yep. So Patchwork Automaton and Urza Saga, obviously both dodge Null Rod to some extent. All right, I mean, I know what I'm looking for. Giant Aura. I think we shuffle that. I'm too likely to brainstorm lock myself. A Dismember, Ward 2? I guess if I get rid of this, Emery just brings it back. So I guess I'm getting rid of the Emery. Definitely stings. I don't know that what I'm going to do here is going to outpace my opponent. Oh, if they don't get Urza Saga tokens, though, I am totally on track. That's not good. We just have to pass the turn here. We'll end of my opponent's turn, get the Surveil land. Well, I guess we do it right now, because this could get Pithing Needled, which would be quite annoying. Preordain is above average. That looks at 3 cards. Yeah, if we're only taking 4 this turn, that's not too bad. I guess there's another Patchwork in there, so, like, the damage will start to ramp up. Haywire Might in their graveyard can't actually remove Null Rod. Alright, Preordain, here we go. That's Eldrazi Conscription. We'll put that on the bottom. We'll put that on the top. We're going to cast this. This may not be good enough. Like, I have 1 massive blocker. My opponent has a ton of shit that they can junk. Like, I've done the thing, but I don't think the thing is good enough. Like, it only takes about 3 turns before my opponent can just go wide of me just by playing things out of the graveyard with Emery. Like, my opponent plays 1 more Bauble, second Patchwork is a 3/3, next turn it's a 4/4, maybe a 5/5 with 1 other artifact drawn. Alright, got it. Oh. Sure. That's fine. The Brazen Borrower. So I just attack for 12, Annihilator 2, Brazen Borrower, bounce, Patchwork, the active Patchwork Automaton out of play, and then repeat. I can also play this as a blocker. Yeah, attack for 12, Annihilate 2. My opponent may lose this one for making the attack that they did last turn. All right, if I play this, I don't pay the ward cost, though. That's fine. I'll chump block and bounce Emery. Or maybe just hold this for another turn cycle. Just fully plan on chump blocking and then bouncing whatever is left behind to block. Multiple creatures being left behind to block, though, I'm less equipped to deal with. Okay. Yeah, so this leaves 2 creatures back. How am I beating that? I've got another Dismember that I could find. That would do it. I block here. And I'm currently thinking about whether or not I am going for a lethal turn. I think if I bounce this, I can force a chump block here. This kills me. This can technically block flyers. Could bounce this one, block this one, block this, and then try to swing for lethal. There's still like Haywire Might in Graveyard that could play. I think I am going to go for bouncing a creature out of play and trying to get a little lucky with the top deck here. That's not... Oh, Trample, right. I do have Trample. Whoop. I considered a mix of Null Rod and Hurkyl's Recall in deck building, and ultimately decided against it because I thought Null Rod would be better against like artifact-based Storm combo decks. This is a perfectly fine hand. I need to use my Preordain to find mana, and then I will Null Rod. Opponent's hand may kind of dodge the Null Rod, unfortunately, based on how it's looking so far. Oh, and an Emery. Disgusting. Like, that's very good. Drawing the land naturally is great. That means that I can dismember the Emery. I want to take 4. And hopefully that cuts my opponent off Urza Saga tokens. Like if they were planning on reusing this Lotus Petal. Nope. Another one. Okay. I still think I'm going to go ahead and play the Null Rod so this doesn't get equipped. That's all fine. And if I naturally draw the 3rd land next turn, I have a 12/12 Annihilator 2 Trampler, and that's cool. And if I don't, we'll do some stuff a little bit later. What is that last card? Mox Opal. Got it. Brainstorm. I'm going to start on Brainstorm with the intention of preordaining away the bad cards. I don't need 2nd Invisible Stalker. Probably don't need 2nd Eldrazi Conscription right now. I will go ahead and fetch. Oh shit, I'm just gonna die to these, aren't I? Like I can block, take 4 or 5. Yeah, I'm just gonna die to the Urza Saga Construct tokens. Like I can make my giant creature next turn. I can play a chump blocker this turn. I just take too much damage in the meantime. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and concede now then. GG's.
Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and honestly, they're just the best at what they do. If you need to keep your deck lists online, this is the way to do it. They have all sorts of different viewing options. You can condense that text if you like things to be tight. You can make them visual grids. You can put them in stacks. You've got all sorts of different ways to kind of view and visualize your deck lists. And they also have some really cool functionality, like allowing you to see playtest hands and even fully playtest your decks. So check them out.
Okay. This one's kind of clunky. I'm going to try to keep it. Does that matter? I don't think that card matters. Like, I have so many basic islands. Oh, fuck yeah. In the deck. I need to find any land. I'm going to try to naturally draw a land in like 3 draws. Nice. Now I have turn 2 Invisible Stalker, turn 3 this, turn 4 kill. Now that Ponder can be pitched to Force of Will. All right, what do you got? Rabble Master. I think I'm fine to just counter that. There's very few cards that I care about anymore. Like once this card resolves, since this creature is hexproof. Like I think I just have deterministic lethal and there's nothing my opponent can do about it. Unless I have like red elemental blast in game 1 and proactively blast this. Note that I believe that my opponent is on a Moon Stompy deck rather than straight Goblins, because we're seeing Game 1 Blood Moon. Yeah, that's fine. Land drop, combat, bend in, no blocks, aura swap, Colossification, delicious, dead opponent. So one of the things that I considered for the sideboard that didn't make the cut was Hydroblast, and that's a card that I definitely could want here. I care about Chalice of the Void a lot. I don't care about Blood Moon, obviously. Probably thinking about roughly 5 cards here. I think I go down some number of cantrips in respect of Chalice and some number of threats. This one gives me the curve of 1, 2, 3. I think this is better than Preordain here. It's kind of close. This is an awkward one. I think I'm just keeping. This is kind of an insane 4-card hand that becomes a 5-card hand as soon as I draw any blue card. Great, love to see that. That's a weird pairing. Okay. I think I will play this land now in respect of Blood Moon. Although sometimes I end up using it as a surveil land rather than a basic. Yeah, I just don't care about that card. I just fetch a basic island here and I let that resolve. And yeah. Make some of my cantrips worse. But that's fine. Yep. So I get giant creature next turn. I don't know why my opponent's Blood Moons are still in their deck. That is resolving. Alright. See if my opponent has some sort of Hydroblast type card. Or maybe a Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt would be very uncommon. Dead Gone could be a thing. I can also just do this in the Aura Swap way. That one doesn't play into Dead Gone, but is like much worse against a Hydroblast. Or a Pyroblast. I think I'm just going to go for it here. So which one do I want? The Annihilator? I think the Annihilator. And then if this doesn't work for some reason, we start working on this, into this, into this, as a kill another turn cycle down the line. My opponent is Chrome Boxing. I'm going to let them have that. Might be casting something like a Fury, but I think I'd rather just still have this around. Yep, that's fine. I'll take 2. I'm not sure if I'm attacking. If I attack, my opponent just loses 2 Chrome Boxes, cracks me back for 8, throws Fury at my face. I guess an argument to put in Colossification last turn is that I could just like make it flying this turn and then get a kill. Wasn't actively thinking about that. Yeah, so I think I'm not playing any spells. Annihilate 2. It might be actually Blood Moon and Chrome Mox that get thrown. Yeah, if they throw Blood Moon, Chrome Mox, then they can go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, they're supposed to throw this to unlock their City of Traders. That Fury is castable. Now I just hold up hardcast Force of Negation. Yeah. Oh, that's fine. Now my opponent is deterministically dead to the flying. I'm at 6. They can hit me to 1 if they'd like. I guess the trample also just kills them here. Yep. And my opponent has 0 cards, so nothing saves them from the 12-12. We've gotten the GGs in chat. And we've got a win on the board with Aura Swap. So I don't think I like this hand. It has 2 of the things that I need, but I have no ability to use this Force of Will and no ability to cantrip. That gets a no from me. This hand doesn't do anything either. I'm going to go to 5, 4. This is an incredibly good 4-card hand, honestly. Now, I am bad against a lot of stuff, and I'm somewhat likely to concede quickly here, but there's a clear game plan, and none of the other hands had that. Alright. Solve it if you control 3 or more artifacts. 4 +1/+1 counters becomes a 4/4 bird. Alright, got it. You can investigate all you want. Which land do I do first? I think I do this one. We're gonna no to that. That's a little bit of a tell if my opponent is a boomer who has been around the block and has seen like Aura Swap Eldrazi Conscription before. Otherwise, it's highly confusing. I've got 8 cast vibes. The dream here is probably Force of Will plus blue card to back up this little lad. No to both of those. Alright, my opponent's just cracking a clue. They held up that mana for my turn cycle, which maybe means something like Metallic Rebuke is gonna happen. Resolves. Yeah? Coveted Jewel, okay. I'm gonna put an Eldrazi Conscription into play. You may draw 3 cards. Like, this is 3 mana, so like this pays for itself. Copy Artifact, sure. Null Rods are eating good today. 6 possible mana. 9 cards in hand. Paradox Engine is horrifying. At this point, my opponent just needs like a 1 ring or something. Mana's fine. You can have mana. Emrakul castable. Emrakul castable. Their Eldrazi gets to attack before my Eldrazi. GG. So I am interested in Null Rod and probably Force of Negation. Brazen Borrowers, okay. I am much more interested in Academy Researchers than I am Arcanum Wings, just because like this is faster. Well, arguably faster. This is also better off of Show and Tell. Maybe Invisible Stalker goes. It gets me Null Rods and Force of Negation. And then maybe I go down 1 aura for one of these. I think I want the 2020 one-shot my opponent rather than the Annihilator too. Okay, I have kept an opening hand that has a high impact card and a Force of Will to protect it. And if my opponent Show and Tells, I have something good to put in. That's weird. I think I just let that happen. I think I just deal with the consequences of that. Like, it does not stop my primary win conditions. And I can technically beat my opponent to death with a 1/1. It won't be fun if I have to do that, but it'll work. As a 4-mana play, I probably counter this Metamorph? Are you straight up just going to Metamorph my 1/1 creature? Sure. I don't think that's worth Force of Willing, despite the fact that it's a little weird. Like, I'll just hold on until this is flying or something. Grim Monolith can happen. Hey, it's flying. Oh, the Aura Swap is here. Now I can attack for 1. Opponent's at 12. Nearly dead next turn. I guess I need the 3rd land. Resolves. I believe that it should probably attack. I don't know, maybe it doesn't matter to them. So I just attack with flying, and then after no blocks, Aura Swap in. The Annihilator 2 doesn't matter if my opponent is dead. Oh, right. Fetch. Whoopsies. Opponent's dead. I could play 1 more Brazen Borrower for Chalice when I'm on the draw. That's probably worth doing over 1 cantrip. If my opponent is going to Chalice, I could slow myself down a little bit to just play Invisible Stalker, which maybe is worth doing? Unsure. This is a hand that has like lands and spells. I can keep this and like try to preordain my way to a Null Rod or something. I think I'm just going to use my free looks at other cards. Yeah. So I want Force of Will, pitch something. I want 2 lands. I want Null Rod. Am I ready for this? I don't think I am ready for this yet. And I might not even want it, depending on how the beginning of the game develops. I think I am comfortable pondering. Yeah, this is sweet. This rewards me for getting rid of the Arcanum Wings. What you got? Gal's Resolves. I use Force of Will to back up Null Rod for sure. So I know the next card is another one of these, which I don't currently want. So let's Rod. Force of Negation. Force of Will. Fantastic. That's just like we drew it up. And now I've got a 10-turn clock if I want to go that route. Otherwise, I can wait until I randomly draw an aura. Seems like my opponent's just passing the turn here. I don't think I'm going to go for just like the 10-turn clock 2/2. I think I'm going to try to do better than that. I just don't think it's likely to work. At some point, my opponent just like metamorphs it and my aggression stops. So we're going to play a lot of draw go. I can grab a Surveil land for just a tiny bit of selection. Oh, the Otawara is being played. Could be an indicator of show and tell. But my opponent just passes. So we'll surveil. Brainstorm goes to graveyard. Yeah, I guess. Alright, my opponent does not have counter magic. That's good to know. They are going for the show and tell. I'm not going to put anything in. Yep. Palace on 0 is a little weird. That Force of Will is 1 card too far away. I am dead. GG's. Alright, final round here. My opponent has mulligan to 5 pretty aggressively. I think I'm going to be looking for like a Force of Will here. I don't know that I can turn down 3rd land to aggressively fish for Force of Will, like 4 in 40 or 4 in 53 chance. I guess it's 4 in 51 because I can see these two. I'm just gonna keep them. This gives me my 3 lands. It gives me Brainstorm into Ponder next turn, and I just hope that I don't die on turn 1. Cool, my opponent's just passing the turn. I think I am into just generic Brainstorm, Fetch, Ponder. Holy shit, that's a lot of land. So I am gonna put back 2. And I fully know that I'm looking for Force of Will at this point, because Force of Will just backs this nonsense up. Hold on. Yeah, I don't think I am interested in this stuff. Oh, hell yeah, it is Force of Will. Sure. Regular old Volk. Ooh. This is an awkward card to Force of Will. I might need to for tempo reasons. I think I will. I'm gonna get rid of the Brazen Borrower. I land on 3 or 4 surgicals for this sideboard. 3. I think my opponent's deck is going to be much faster than mine. Oh, cool. They don't have another land drop to just like immediately Faithless Looting or something. That's kind of huge. So I will try to make a giant thing, and we'll see if it resolves. Yeah, it's really bad for me if this does not resolve, but hey. I have a 22/22 creature on turn 3. That's about the best that we could hope for. We're hoping to dodge Narcomoeba. We dodged Narcomoeba. So my opponent does not have a land because they've dredged. Ooh. Fuck. And the Bridge from Belows are particularly bad here. I probably have to go off again or find, what is it, Arcanum, what's it called? Arcanum Wings. No, the flying doesn't get me over the Narcomoebas. Fuck. If my opponent sacks to Cabal Therapy, though. So is my opponent going to Therapy? They end up with... They probably wouldn't know to play around this thing getting flying, right? That's a super niche interaction. Yeah. Unfortunately, Brainstorm is one of the cards that they're most likely to name here, and they will randomly hit with that. Brazen Borrower. Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable as well. 3 looks at Arcanum Wings. Negative. I think I put these 2 back, and then intend on Ponder shuffling. I want to keep the untapped land, because if I find Arcanum Wings, I can play it. Shuffle. Negative. I will play my unblockable creature and force a chump block. Note that this doesn't clear Bridge from Below. Bridge from Below clears when when a creature is put into an opponent's graveyard from the battlefield. There's a Descana. My opponent's chilling for right now. That's not bad. So I force a chump block on this zombie here. My opponent takes 1. I do this. And this is a really big dredge for my opponent. They hit 2 Narcomoebas, which is massive. Does my opponent have a Cabal Therapy? Oh, I don't see a Cabal Therapy, right? Yeah, so they're chilling. So this is the flying that I, in theory, need to punch this through if these aren't here. I think I'm kind of hoping that my opponent sacrifices the Narcomoebas to a Dread Return. And I'm just going to put some extra bodies into play. And I don't think I'm going to do the chip damage here. They don't have the ability to sack them. This is all quite awkward for me. Let's form a plan. No. Let's form a plan. I think this is still part of the plan. I think I go bam, bam, and then just shuffle with Preordain. Bottom, bottom. Do it again. Bottom, bottom. So this now gives me 5 mana in a single turn to play this and Aura Swap. And I can Surveil at end of turn. Alright, there's a Cabal Therapy. We'll kind of see how this goes. My opponent may end up with too many zombies to, like, do this. Oh, so this Cabal Therapy is targeting themselves. Alright. Naming Troll, got it. So my opponent can go like sack, sack, sack. They have to be careful not to deck themselves. So my opponent would draw a card for each creature with base power and toughness 2. Oh, it's Dread Return targeting the Ox. Let's just yield to those. Oh, I see. So their plan is to just go wide and kill me with hasty zombies. Got it. Well, if they don't kill me, I kill them. That's a Dread Return targeting a Grave Troll now. That's a lot of zombie tokens. Feels like I'm dead. That's 19 of those. That's 28 right there, all by itself. I'm gonna kill this fucking Grave Troll, though, out of spite. So we just kind of end up on the wrong side of that. That game just fully came down to, like, where were the Narcomoebas in regards to my Arcanum Wings. I am interested in Surgicals. I am interested in Force of Negation. What's kind of my plan, like, with regards to these? This is very good with Arcanum Wings. Less good with Researchers. I think I'm getting rid of this, despite the fact that it is something that my opponent wanted to therapy. I don't think I can get rid of any of this. I think I just need the density. This, or maybe Preordains. I don't know, Preordains are looks at Surgical. That matters a lot. Maybe this is a Trim, rather than any one of these being the worst thing. This is a very good 5-card hand. Am I fine with that? My Ponder, in theory, needs to find Aura Swap and 2 lands. I'm going to keep it. I don't think I lead on this, though. I think I lead on Ponder. Let's just shuffle this. That's fine. So let's see what my opponent's got. Ball Therapy resolves. Force of Will is a hit. Drawing the last Eldrazi Conscription after putting one of them on the bottom is rough. As a secondary thing, like, it's possible that my opponent Cabal Therapies me at some point and takes 3 of these. So the second land means that some gross things can start happening. I think in theory I'm pretty interested in surgicaling Bridge from Below. We're chilling. I mean, that's a reasonable draw. I guess it's also pretty reasonable to surgical Narcomoeba, huh? Narcomoeba is just the thing that gets the Poxwalkers and friends going. Should set a stop here. Yeah, I think I have to take out Narcomoeba right now. Otherwise, like, Cabal Therapy 3-for-1 that is about to happen is just brutal. Alright, Narcomoeba's out. Does my opponent's build have Icarid? It does not. Alright, cool. So my opponent now has to do much worse things to get initial creatures, like land, Stinkweed Imp, Cabal Therapy. There needs to be Bridge from Belows in graveyard as well. Ox plus red mana is another way to get a starting creature. Okay, yeah, there is a Stinkweed Imp. There's the red. Double Bridge gets discarded. This is a little unfortunate here, because my opponent had no red mana showing as of the start of the turn. The LED enabling the Ox after I attempted to shut off. Kind of the engine starting is rough. We're going to get 3 Drudges. Anger. Anger's really good. My opponent can Cabal Therapy, take all of my Eldrazi Conscriptions. And at this point, I think my opponent can, like, Cabal Therapy, make some more tokens, Dread Return, get the Ox back if they want. I think I'm not realistically on outs anymore, and I'm just going to value my time and concede. GG's. Alright, so how do we feel about this one at the end of the league? For what it is, I think this was a good attempt at making this card work. We did the thing multiple times, but ultimately the thing that this deck is trying to do is not fast enough and is not strong enough for Legacy. So Academy Researchers is an A plus B combo deck that does not necessarily win the game when it happens. And Arcanum Wings is an A plus B plus C combo deck that does not necessarily win the game when it happens. Although this one is closer to just winning the game when it happens. I am happy with how I tuned this up, but I think we're fighting an uphill battle trying to play something like that, and that's okay. It was a really fun experiment. If you find you want to mess around with this or other cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com, and using promo code ThrabenU to save a little bit on your order. And folks, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. See ya!